Good evening, everybody. I am Fictional Crystals, and this is my review on Buddy's book. This episode by far exceeded my expectations. I did expect it to be a flashback episode told through Stephen and Connie's eyes, though. It was such a great episode for the lore. I loved seeing Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl in their old forms from the photo in So Many Birthdays. But has Rose ever actually reformed? Well, other than turning into Stephen. She's been wearing the same dress for practically 5,750 years. She could have just reformed with the same dress, but I don't know, Rose seems pretty indestructible. The episode starts off with Stephen and Connie teleporting to the library on Lion, and while they're teleporting, you can actually hear the corruption theme. And his warp makes a diamond shape, but I'll get back to this later in the review. We find out that this is actually Stephen's first time to a library. I noticed everything in the library was red and blue, so were Stephen and Connie's shirts. Which immediately made me think of Ruby and Sapphire. This might be foreshadowing for them coming soon, since we know they are going to show up in one of the next 2 episodes. Or it represents the fact that Connie mirrors Sapphire, Stephen mirrors Ruby, and Stevonnie mirrors Garnet. That, or it's just me being a hardcore Rupphire fan that thinks everything's Rupphire. Yeah, I am a hardcore Rupphire fan. There was a poster of Mayor Dewey on the wall with what seems to be a young Buck Dewey. Connie tells Stephen to go look around, and he finds a journal underneath a bookshelf. I've seen people make a lot of Gravity Falls references because of this. He realizes the book is Buddy's, William Dewey's first mate from Historical Friction. He realizes the book is mainly about gems, so him and Connie decide to read it. Connie doesn't care about her homework if gem stuff is involved, which is very realistic. There was a drawing of the temple in the book, which I believe was actually concept art for it. Anyway, the first location that Buddy goes to is the Strawberry Battlefield, which is apparently located in Norway. There he meets Garnet and Pearl for the second time. They were in their old forms, like I already mentioned, and Garnet's glasses just got me. Her third eye was sticking out of them and it looked like she had a unibrow. I wonder what Ruby and Sapphire would have looked like back then, and which one of them decided on a hat. Probably Ruby. I also like how the gems change their clothes and speech to match human culture of that time period. Garnet and Pearl give Buddy a map of all the places he shouldn't go. Then they kind of just ride off on a bicycle. Why were they even there in the first place? The map is very similar to the one from It Could Have Been Great. There are these 3 crosses on the map in the shape of a triangle located where the Bermuda Triangle is, which I found quite funny. We got callbacks to places we haven't seen in ages, such as the communication hub, the lunar sea spire, and the temple from Giant Woman. Including that mysterious mural from Serious Stephen, which I have a theory about that I'll make a video on if you want to see it. One of the drawings Stephen doesn't recognize, it strongly resembles Blue Diamond's carriage from The Answer. What if one day Stephen finds the carriage and inside there's a very badly cracked gem, or maybe that gem's stuck inside of an object so they can't reform? Then it turns out that gem is Blue Pearl. She was accidentally left behind during the war and saved from corruption like Lapis was. Dee Dee did say she has voiced Blue Pearl. Blue Diamond probably left her carriage behind in the panic of escaping Earth. I doubt she died on Earth too, since she does have her diamond on the current homeworld symbol. Unless that was actually Pink Diamond's carriage. Eventually, Buddy ends up in the kindergarten where he meets Amethyst, whose old outfit actually covered her gem. I think Garnet's may have too. I knew she had long hair before she met Greg, but no one believed me. Amethyst was using modern slang, even though this was set hundreds of years ago, so it is now my headcanon that Amethyst created modern slang. Unless this was just Steven's imagination. Amethyst basically makes Buddy, realize he hasn't properly discovered anything by himself. To make Buddy feel better, Amethyst says that there's a sandcastle that no one's been able to explore. So he sets off to the desert to find it, but instead, he finds Rose and 7 lions. Have you noticed how in almost every episode Rose is in, her eyes are either closed or covered by a shadow or something else? In her portrait, her eyes are closed. In the Bismuth special, her eyes that were closed were also covered by a beam, and in this, her eyes were covered by shadow, just like in the extended intro. Looks like Rose has another secret that we're gonna find out about. I think this secret is about Lion's origin. I think he started off as a normal lion that Rose did something to. Similar to the way those flowers had gems inside them. Maybe Lion swallowed a shard of pink diamond. This would explain why there were pink diamonds in the background of Lion's warp and why the corruption theme played. Rose also broke the fourth wall, like Sardonyx does constantly. The episode ends with Buddy realizing that he makes a really good author, and Stephen and Connie realizing that that's who the library is named after, and that Jamie's not actually what Buddy looks like. But I have one more thing to say about this episode and all the other episodes from Season 4 so far. Listen to the credits. You can't hear Love Like You. Guys, it's the calm before the storm.